Good evening, Chairwoman, Commissioners, County Manager. The department has presented this traffic calming policy as we routinely receive requests to address concern about speeding and other safety issues from communities. To address these concerns, the department has developed a traffic calming policy to assist with the review, recommendation, and implementation of traffic calming strategies. Therefore, the department recommends the Board of Commissioners approve the Department of Transportation traffic calming policy.
Okay. Commissioners, I move that we approve this agenda item as it has been presented.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I just want to say I appreciate the leadership, as commentary. I appreciate the leadership that you and staff have taken on and having those discussions with the state as well. We have a lot of communities that have requested for increased set of options, and I think that this helps expand some of those opportunities for those communities that have specifically requested for traffic, for speeding to be attenuated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other comments or questions? Commissioner Gambrill?
Drew, I didn't see the change for the one spelling.
And that is my mistake. Is it?
We'll fix it.
The final version, we'll add that first.
Okay, and just so the audience knows the question, it had to do under the removal and relocation process. Instead of for, it said from.
Yes. Thank
So
you.
we're going to make that correction through the clerk. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Commissioner.
are there any other comments or questions? Commissioner Burrow?
Drew, I know we've had some discussions on this, but can you just explain how we're combining these and offering additional speed or calming devices?
Sure, I'd be glad to provide a little bit of context. So currently there are two different policies associated with traffic calming, and that is speed humps and dynamic speed display signs. Those are the only two policies that we have the ability to utilize when someone does call with a concern or complaint about speeding in their neighborhood and they're requesting some kind of transportation solution to that, recognizing some of the challenges of continued enforcement that would be required in order to drive those speeds down. In looking at a number of different resources, including the Institute of Transportation Engineers, the Federal Highway Traffic Calming Toolbox, and many other resources, including traffic calming policies across the country, what we were able to determine is there's a bevy of additional tools that can go into that toolbox. So what this policy does is it makes those tools available. It continues to utilize the petition process that is available today for the two policies that I referenced earlier, still requiring for those citizen-led requests for traffic calming that 65% threshold and Board of Commissioner approval for whatever that method is. Additionally, lowered the bar in terms of the speed limit constraint. Currently, a neighborhood that is a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit requires that the prevailing speed, or the 85th percentile speed, the speed at which 85% of vehicles are at or below, be 35 miles an hour, so significantly above that speed limit, 10 miles an hour over. So what this policy does is it drops that limit to 32 miles an hour. That once speed crosses that threshold, it is then eligible to go through the petition process. And again, any of these traffic calming measures prior to implementation would require funding and approval by the Board of Commissioners before those can be installed, and then pursuant to the petition process, which would then cause that item to be brought forward to the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, but this doesn't give us any discretionary power to just do something. They have to meet all the requirements, and then it would come back to us for approval. But upon the request from the neighborhood or subdivision.
That's right.
Or the area.
There is eligibility criteria, which relates to the speed limit, the prevailing speed, the length, the type of roadway, and then ultimately, once it passes all of those thresholds, those barrier to entry, it then has to pass that 65% petition threshold. Mm-hmm. Once it meets that, then it becomes an agenda item brought before the Board of Commissioners for your consideration of, again, both the funding and then the general approval of that countermeasure before it can be installed by the department.
Okay, and then once they meet the requirements, then it will come back to us from the request and then meeting all the requirements. But how will we determine where the funding's coming from if it's not in SPLOST or in your budget?
Certainly. And that is an item that was considered as part of this, so recognizing the capital costs associated with any of these measures. In the analysis process, this is page 5 of the policy, there includes a schedule, and so this is based on previous requests that we would have received. Data would be collected between January and May. That data would then be analyzed by department staff that would determine the appropriate countermeasure to address the speed, should it meet that speed threshold. And then in August through October, we would coordinate with the community to say, here's what the department recommends. Does this match what you think would work in your community, understanding that they know their community better than we ever could. That petition process then again has those 3 months to proceed. And then in November and December, any that meet all of these thresholds would be included in the department's budget. So there would be both, again, that budgetary requirement that the board would have to provide those fundings, as well as the approval of those specific countermeasures.
Okay.
Thank you. And just to be very specific on the 65% petition threshold, who's signing those petitions as a part of the request?
Those are either all members of the HOA, or for those neighborhoods that do not have HOAs, it would be within the affected areas.
Thank you.
65%.
65%.
Yeah. How are you measuring the affected areas?
Again, with an HOA, it's pretty clear. It's
Right.
the neighborhood. But generally, our traffic engineers take a look at the map of that neighborhood, look at which roads have been requested, and try to address anyone that has to access that roadway to get to their home, to get to or from their home, and that becomes that affected area.
Okay. And similar to the streetlight district, would we provide a list of, I guess, homes for the petitioner to seek signatures?
We would provide that with that point of contact. We would provide that map of the affected area.
Okay, thanks.
So really, we do that now. That's our policy now, that it has to
That's
come back
correct.
here.
That's correct. This just provides additional tools in that toolbox and then adjusts some of those speed thresholds.
Are there any other comments or questions? Call the question. The motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.